I am here on top of the Makoni Yami Hill, which overlooks the southern end of the runway. Down there you can see the stretch of the runway that has already been asphalted way back up to a point up there, somewhere close to where that blue truck is coming down. But today, Saturday, the 6th day of June, I am on top of the Makoni Yami Hill, where they are taking down this hillside, and currently the drill is drilling into some hard rocks in preparation for blasting operation sometime in the week coming up. There is no pushing away of dirt up here by the caterpillars this week. The caterpillars are lower down on another section of this same hill, but on top of the hill itself here, the higher part of the hill, I have in the back of me here, the drill is operating. A number of holes have already been drilled, covered with the usual piece of cardboard and secured with a stone, but they are now putting in drilling more holes into the rock. Now there you see the drill. This one drill is what is operating. There are two drills, but one of them seems to be down, and that is, it has been resting over there on the fourth hill on the eastern end for about, this is the third or so Saturday since I'm here, coming here and seeing the drill resting over there. But this drill that is working now is right on top of the Makoni Yami Hill, and it is doing some more drilling of the rocks. Now if you notice the hillside here, you will see that how much of it has gone down. Looking from the top up there and it coming down, there is another layer. Last week when I came here earlier, you see where that second, where the drill is and the bank side above, well, it was up to that level this area was when I first came here, and they would have dug down over the past week right down to the level that we have now. But the caterpillars cannot do any more pushing away of dirt because they have encountered some hard rocks here on the hill. So what we have been happening here this morning is that the drill is drilling into these hard rocks. The explosive will be put in place, and in the week coming up we will have some blasting of this area so that they could make it easier for the caterpillar to move these rocks over the bankside. See where we have all those cardboards placed there. More than what we expecting to see happening. Where those cardboards are placed, if the holes have not been drilled as yet, these are where the areas to mark the spot where holes will be drilled up there. And there are a number of them placed up there. See the drill over there? The drill is not one of the best, but it is doing the work nevertheless. The guys are working hard to get this hillside down. And today they are drilling holes up here on this Makoni Yami Hill. A number of them has already been drilled, and now you see the drill is there setting to go down into that spot where another hole will be drilled, where they're going to place the explosive. And later down in the week, maybe from tomorrow or probably later in the week, we're going to have some blasting here on the Makoni Yami Hill. Up here we have 3 men doing this work. getting this hill ready for the blasting operation, so that we can continue the taking down of this Makoni-Yami Hill here on the western, the southwestern end of the airport site. Down below us, down here on this side of the hill, on the southernmost end, we have the caterpillars are now taking down this section of the hillside. As you can see, the depth to which they have gone so far, the dirt down there seems to be very soft, so they are plowing into the dirt itself. As you can see, this caterpillar right here before us, that piece of attachment at the back is plowing into the soil itself and making it softer. And then what will happen later on, the caterpillar will then push all those softened soil and stone mixed together over the bank, and it will be taken away down to the seaside area at the stubs end. But this is what we have, the work that is going on here now this morning here at the bank side, overlooking the turning head, and work is going on down there on the turning head area where they are putting down the lighting system and compacting the area, and further down to the end over there in the distance they are doing some leveling off down there. But when I get down there, we're gonna see exactly what is happening. But today, Saturday the 6th day of June 2015, this is what we have taken place on this section, this side of the airport site here, as I bring to you my weekly updates on the progress of the work taking place here at the Argyle International Airport. We are down here on the southernmost end of the runway, outside of the stopway in this dirt area, where we have this caterpillar leveling off this area, where we had a number of truckloads of dirt being dumped previously. Now we can see the caterpillar over there in the distance doing the leveling off work, pushing the dirt over here to the bank side, and it rolls down the bank here down to the area where they are dumping truckloads after truckloads of dirt and stones. And below here you have a caterpillar also leveling off the truckloads of dirt that are being dumped here as they continue to build up this area to the sea to make the breakwater. And as I look out in the sea, I can see a number of seaweeds floating on the water out there on the seashore, as they wash to the shore. So here is at the southernmost end, on the stub side of the airport site, at the bottom by the sea, we have truckloads after truckloads of dirt and stones being dumped here to build up this area. Here on the foothill in that area some weeks ago, where we saw they had the explosive planted and we had the orange wire connecting to each other. And the week after, when I told you there was going to be some blasting in this area. Now, yes, there was blasting, and over the past week since my last visit, there has been some activities here where the stones were blasted. The rubbles, the blasted section of the stones were pushed to this point where you're seeing them here, kind of bringing this area down a little bit. And this side is on the side where the stone crushing plant is, and this is on the southernmost side area, what I understood to be called Foothill. And yes, there was work done here over the past week, as you can see, with the movements of these stones being pushed to the edge down there. And no doubt later on these stones are going to be moved, and whatever they're going to use them for, they will be used for that purpose. Some may be taken down to the riverside, some may be used to do filling in some areas. Some may be used at the crushing plant to make aggregates, but I am not quite sure what they're going to use them for. But they are using these stones that they're taking from this site in many different areas where these stones are being needed to continue in the work here at the Argyle Airport site. And I am heading up on top of the hill up there to get a look-see of the side to the stubs area where they're doing the backfill. So until I reach up there, I am leaving. So I'm here now looking at the bank side, the seaside area here on towards the stubs end where they are building up this area. Now you see the first platform that they've placed there. Now on top of that they are building another one over there on the side. So they continue to build up this area. I am not sure how far up they're going to build it, but if you notice at the side, the seawater is rather clear today because they are not dumping any stone with dirt close to the seawater. And all the dirt that they would have dumped by the edge there, you notice that the dirt has been washed away, and all you're seeing are the stones now. But the work at the back here continues because truckloads after truckloads of dirt is being dumped there. You can see the caterpillar over there waiting for the loads to be dumped so that they can level it off here at the back. And they're building up another section here, as you can see the difference there in the height. They're building up a section coming up to this bank side here. So this is what we have here on the stubs end of the airport site to this Saturday, the 6th day of June 2015. And over there where we see that caterpillar is pushing away the dirt, I am beginning to wonder to myself if it is in this area they are going to put the road. So now they are making preparation for that access road to Warraku. I have an idea that it probably will be passing outside the perimeter fence of the airport site on the southernmost end down here. And this morning I see this caterpillar, it is plowing into the dirt here, and it is pushing the loose dirt over to the bank side. And I want to believe that they are making a preparation work for the roadway, but it is too soon for me to tell. And as the work progresses, when I return here next week, maybe I will see some improvement and some difference here which will tell me exactly what is taking place. But for the time being, this is what we have going on here right now, here on that area gone past the stopway on the southern end of the runway. We are here at the Breadfruit Gutter area in the section of the first kilometer where we had the extension of that drain that runs under the first kilometer of the runway, running from west to east. And now we have a number of truckloads of dirt. You know, remember previously I've shown you where they have built the extension of the culvert, and then afterwards they started to dump truckloads of soil here. Now we have a considerable amount of soil being dumped in this area to build up this area, to bring it to the level, to that area where I'm now standing on the shoulder section of the side section of the runway. Now we still have a lot more to be dumped there, but no doubt as time progresses, more truckloads of dirt will be dumped in this area, and eventually we'll have the area being filled up. Now over there you can see a section already being leveled off where we had a number of truckloads of dirt, and later on as time progresses we will continue to see more of this area being filled and level off to look just like that side on the eastern side, where we also had an extension of the culvert running under the runway. You notice how there was a gully once down there, and now it has been filled and leveled off, right? So this is exactly what is going to take place up here on this section of the airport site. So you can see over there where that cow is, in that area. When it rains, water comes down there in that area and flows through this culvert that runs under the runway. So this is what we have here, and gradually the area is being filled as the work progresses here at the airport site. You remember last week we were here where this drain is that runs over into the bank, where we have the extension on the eastern side. On the eastern side they got to the culvert that runs under the first kilometer of the runway, exiting on the eastern end down in that gully that we have filled up there. Last week when we came here we had the blocks being placed there. They run the blocks and they were still rough. The blocks were exposing, and I told you by the time we come back here next week we'll see a nice plastering finish. But I'm here the following week now, and we can see this area has been plastered. The drain has been well done. You have the plastering here. The outside is not plastered because the outside is going to be filled with dirt, so there's no need to nice up that side. But I'm just showing you the progress of the work that has taken place here since our last visit in this particular area. The area where we have the extension of this drain on the the eastern side. Remember, where I'm standing here, I'm inside of the drain itself that they have built. I could not have could not have been able to stand here about a month or so ago, because all where I'm standing used to be going down into the gully of this section, because when I came here during those past period, I could have reached up to this point here where the drain ends, right in this particular area here. I was able to come right across here and just peep over into the embankment. So all where you see all this dirt here right now used to be a slope going down to the bank down there. But now it has been done, this drain has been done, it has been plastered, the area has been filled with dirt, and now it is a safe area now. I am not positively sure if they're going to cover over this section where the slabs there. Some areas where they have drains like this, they cover it with the slab, so when they start leveling it look as one. But I am not quite sure if this is how they're going to do this area. But what we have here today, this week, the following week, first Saturday in June, here on our visit, this is the work that has taken place here over the past week in this particular area, the first kilometer area on the eastern side, where we have this drain, the continuation of this drain on the east side here, that will be taking the water from the runoff water from off the airport site, coming down from way up there in the south, coming right back down here towards the north, and going over into that area where they did the extension of the drain and has filled up that area with dirt. Over there on the hill where you see the truck is coming down, where they once stored some stones momentarily, now the stones are being moved, and I want to believe that they are taking these stones on the area where they are laying the base stones for the runway. But when I get there, I will know better, because I cannot tell from where I'm at. But this is what I believe, because they are doing some work up there, and more than likely these stones that the trucks are moving from here will be taken to that area where they are doing laying the base stones for the runway. But until I get up there, we're gonna see better what is happening. Now you are seeing some improvements here with the fencing. Last week when we were here, we just had this one section with the wire mesh up, and we also had a number of holes being drilled into the earth here. But this week we have a number of the poles are up now, and currently the men are working here, and with the generator there, it either tells me that they do work here in the night, or the generator is just there to give electricity to the power tools. But right now we have the workmen working here on removing the wooden strips that they have placed there to do this concrete works, the foundation works for these poles. And as you can see, the poles are up, and sooner or later, maybe before I even leave here today, you might see the mesh wires up, because here on the ground, as you can see, the mesh wires that are going up there are right here waiting, and they can be easily installed. All they need is a drill. Well, actually, remember we talk about the generator, so apparently the generator is there to power the tool that will drill the hole into these poles that we have here, so that we could fasten the mesh wires to the pole. But the work continues here on this section where they're doing the fencing. This fencing is being placed just below where we have You know that access road going to Warwick on top the Johnson Hill up there where the vehicles pass, where you can stay up there and now have a beautiful look at the terminal building and the rest of the airport. Well, it's just below that bankside. We have these fencing being, these columns for these fencing are being mounted here, and the work continues. Now let me see if I can count with it. We had one already, and we're going to see how much spacing that we have up here so far. We had the one that was up, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 section has already been, well, 14 plus the one that we had before. That is, so 15 in all we have up, and just over the past week we have it. And then you're gonna have these, the mesh going up. So by the time we visit here next week, we're gonna have all this section, these 15, this other 14 section. We'll have, no doubt, we'll have the mesh wire mounted here as the work continues here at the airport site. No asphalt work is actually taking place today on the runway of the airport. But however, we have the laying of the base stones here as we continue in the 2nd kilometer up into the 3rd kilometer of the runway. This section behind the gutter, on the southern side of the gutter area, this section is, the stones are continuing to be laid here in this area. As you can see up there, remember just a while ago I showed you where they were taking stones from and bringing them up here, and I told you I believe that they were bringing these stones where they are laying the base stones for the continuation of the runway. Well, this is exactly what is happening here. Here we have a truck is now dumping its load here, and the grader is here ready to level off all of these stones. So the work continues here at the airport site, and as they continue with the laying of the base stone on this section, heading towards the area where they have the gutter spanning. Over in the distance we have the cargo terminal building. The workers are over there carrying on the work. But later on, maybe on my way back down, because I'm heading up north, on my way back down, I'm going to check over there to see the progress of the work there at the cargo terminal area. It is approaching 12 o'clock, and around this time, so on the site, between 12 and 1, the activity just come to a halt because the workers are on their lunch break. But I will continue to check and see what is going on here. In the meantime, I'm heading up to the northern side to see the progress of the work up here. But for here on the general aviation apron area, this is what we have so far up to this week, to the 6th day of June 2015. Well, I actually thought no concrete work was being done, but while I was looking down at the end down there that they did last week, expecting to see activity, none was taking place. But actually, none was taking place when I came here, but it seemed as though while I was down at the southern end, work was going on here, because now we have this gentleman here trying to brush off here this section, the last section that they have done. And here we also see these small section linking this general aviation apron area to the commercial apron area. There's just a small piece, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them they have done this morning, and the last piece there the gentleman is putting on the finishing touch by brushing it. This jug that you see on the ground here actually contains a compound that after the concrete has been brushed, like what the gentleman is doing there, another gentleman will then spray the concrete itself to prevent it from drying out too quickly. So it allows it to dry steadily and not allowing it to dry too quickly to cause cracking. Now I'm on the commercial apron area, and you know they were spoken about putting in 2 air bridges. Now here on the apron area itself in the commercial section, you see this one hole here where you're seeing, and down there on my left there is another hole. Now these 2 holes are going to connect to the bridge, the air bridge that are going to be put in here. And if you look in the distance ahead of me here, as I go closer with you, you will see the framing already put in on which they're going to mount this air bridge. There's going to be 2 of them. One is going to be up here on the right hand side, and the other one somewhere down there on the left, closer to the general aviation apron area. But this is the concrete frame that has been already placed there. We're going to be mounted on, and over there in the distance, just in line with this one, is another one, and one on the side over there. So that is 3 of them linking each together. So on this side you're going to have one of the air bridges connecting onto the runway, so when the passengers are coming and it's raining, you're not going to see them. They could come through this, enter the aircraft, or alight from the aircraft. So here we have the other area where the other air bridge is going to be mounted, on this side down here on the left. Now if your side, the other one is up to the northern side that we just looked at earlier, and down here we have, so it's going to enter somewhere on the apron area here where you have that space there, and down here we have another space, and then over there close to the door where we have the concrete section there with the bolt, there's where we're going to have the other air bridge mounted, and these will be mounted very soon, but I don't know yet how they're going to be looking and how they're going to do this, but as time progresses we are going to see what takes place. Last week when we were here, we had the surveyors doing some surveying work here in preparation for the continuation of the concrete works here. Now this week we had, remember last week we had a section that was left to be done, but this week that now we have this whole area here has been completed right down to the end, in line with the other section of the apron area that was already done. So now we have this piece done. It's linking to the drain, and what is going to happen afterwards, we're going to have the drain cover also with concrete, and the concrete is going to come over here onto this side. How far out back I'm not too sure, but if you notice there on this side, you will see we have some steels extending, and from the end down here right way back down to a certain distance we have steel. So this tells us that we're going to have some concrete works coming over, but how far over this concrete works is going to be, I cannot yet say for sure until I see the works start. Then I will have a better idea, but I know that there's going to be the concrete works coming over from where the apron ends, covering this drain and extending over into the area where I'm now standing on the right side of the apron, looking from south to north. And as you can see, as we travel closer to the edge, you see the concrete works reaching right up to the edge, and no doubt that this work will continue beyond where it has reached here, going over to the drain where we have the drain down there. But how far back out it's going to reach, we don't know as yet. But this is what you have here. The work, this area is now finished with concrete, and this is what it is looking like now. It is finished. This whole area is now done with the concrete, and we are expecting later on that we're going to have the concrete works covering over the drain here and extending over onto this side where I am now standing. We are here now at the gutter area where they are doing the spanning, and from where I'm at I can see that this all the metal frame have been mounted up, and they have reached right down to the end, both of them. And now in front of us here they are putting up the boxing and the steel for the pouring of the concrete at the front here of this section of the spanning of the river in this area. So the work continues here, and at the river area, the gutter area where they're doing the spanning, now they're doing the woodworks, the framing works to pour the concrete after they would have completed putting up all the metal sheetings to make this arch area for the channeling of the water that will run off from the airport, and the water that is flowing constantly in a small stream here on this side. So here we are at this area where we have the 3rd kilometer of the runway. That section just where the Petrocliff Hill is, that is left to be done. The section between the two spanning areas that we have left to be done. We also have, after the spanning is completed, that area to be filled up, both at the gutter and the riverside, and then the laying of the dirt and base stones here, and the continuation of this section of the runway to complete the long stretch of runway that we have here. Last week we were here on the northern end of the Petroglyph Hill, and remember I show you where they had drilled some holes and they had them covered with pieces of cardboards held down with a stone. Well, the blasting has been done here over the past week gone, and now they are removing the rubbles, the stone and the dirt that came down in the blasting on this section of the Petroglyph Hill, the section overlooking the Yambu River spanning. Now in the Yambu River spanning, we have the third one almost reached to the end. There is still, from where I'm standing up here on the hillside looking down there at it, I can see that they're almost close to the end. A little portion is left and the fourth one is nearing behind. So more than likely by next week Saturday when I return here, all two of them will reach down to the end, and the area, all the bolts, rest bolts tighten up and in preparation for the filling up of this area. Now from here I'm going to go down to the spanning area so we can get a closer look of what is taking place down there. But up here on top of the Petroglyph Hill, we have had the blasting done in the week and the bank side is coming down. Here we are at the bottom side of the spanning area, and workmen are now busily tightening the bolts that of those metal sheetings that they have already put on. There's no fitting up of metal frames right now, but what they're doing, they are tightening the bolts in place, and each hole must get its bolt. Each bolt, over 200,000 bolts, have to be put into these holes to secure these frames to the J-beam that are being placed into the concrete base here. Today we have the men tightening the bolts in the holes that have not yet had any bolts. So this is the work that we have here so far. There's still a bit more of the third section to come down, and also the fourth one, as you can see here in this video. So by next week when we return here, more than likely this area should be finished, all the metal frames mounted up and just the bolts to be tightened. Now I'm at the northern section in the 3rd kilometer of the runway, and as you can see before your eyes here, this is a fresh piece of asphalt work that has been done here over the past week since my last visit, because when I visited here last week Saturday, they were doing asphalt work down on the 2nd kilometer of the runway. But this section was not done previously with the other areas here that were done all the way up. As you can see, the difference in the coloration of this piece of work tells you that this is a new piece of work that was done recently, and this work no doubt was done between Saturday last week and sometime up to Friday yesterday. So here we are now on the western side. As you can see also, just like how we see on the eastern end just a while ago, we have some fresh asphalt work that was done over the past week gone since my last visit here at the airport site. So now these two sidings that were done now completes the width of this area of the runway. And on the side where you're seeing these stones, no doubt this section is the shoulder area of the runway. So this fresh piece plus the old pieces that were done before and the next fresh piece on the other side on the eastern end completes the width of the airport, the runway strip here. And on the two ends where we have the shoulder, just the stones that are there. Actually, the layer that we have here that is laid down, this is the first layer of two layers that will be done here on this runway strip, and it is going to be like this right along the whole strip. You're putting down the first layer, and then later on you're going to put down another layer on this, and I'm going to show you something further up when I get to the concrete section, where this asphalt work meets with the concrete section. I'm going to show you something up there to give you an idea as to why is it we're going to have another layer of asphalt here on this section where they're laying down the asphalt here on the runway strip. Now we are at that point where the concrete and the asphalt are linked. Now right in front of you here we had a step down of the concrete. The concrete that built the turning head here, we had a step down section where you see that lip is right there. So where the asphalt work is now, you're seeing here, below this is a section of the concrete that we have here at the turning head. But why there has to be another layer of concrete, and this is not the only layer. If you look closely in front of you there, you see a step down still. There's still a lip here right in front of you, right as you look right here where my finger is pointing there. There is a lip about 2 inches or so, and this means that the asphalt, another layer of asphalt that is going to be placed here, will have to come flush with this concrete section. So we have a next layer which is about 2 inches in some area, you know, to come on top of this one that we have here already, to bring it up to flush with the concrete section. So this layer of asphalt we see here currently is just the first layer, and another layer is going to be put on. These are the spanning in the gutter area, and they have reached to the end here. I don't believe that here is where they're going to stop, but we are going to look and see the progress of the work. But so far they have reached down to the end, and they are in a position now with just a few more bolts to go in and to tighten up. They are in position now where we can start the filling up of this area and to continue the 3rd kilometer of the runway. There is no activity here currently, and all the metal are in place so far here, and only a few bolts that are left to be put in. So apparently the guys who are working here are up at the riverside area focusing on putting in the bolts up there, because we have more up there to be done than what we have down here. Last week we were at the aircraft fire and rescue station, hope I have it right, and we noticed they were putting down the metal moldings in preparation for concrete works. Now this work has been done over the past week since last Saturday, and now we have some of the works, the concrete slabs here down. As you can see, the commencement of the concrete works here at the fire station section. So I'm just bringing you a little update of this work, seeing that we have checked it last week when they were putting down the moldings, and it is here now to show you the work that has been done over the past week in this particular area. So there is much more to be done, as you can see there in the back there, and also in the front. They have already put down some slabs, the frames in the front, in preparation for the concrete works also. So hopefully next week when we come back here, we are going to see some more works done here in this area around the fire and station where they are doing the concrete works. A couple of weeks ago we had some containers being offloaded with the fencing for the airport. Now this week we also have another shipment There we have 4 containers, and one of them is being offloaded right now with more of the fencing material for the airport side. So there you have it, more fencing being offloaded here from these containers, fencing for the perimeter of the airport sites, and already they have started to put these fencing up, as you would have seen in earlier photos and videos that I would have done. So you are seeing there the demolition of the Chateauye contingent, the house, the office there, and this is being done because this building is in the way of where the fencing is going to pass. So they are taking it down and probably relocate it in another area just over in the opposite side. So the work here starts on the removing of this section. We have 2 containers on both sides, and the roof other areas blocked up. So the guys are there now taking down this section of the building, and they're going to carry it over just where that white truck passed there a while ago, on the opposite side of the road, just below the foot of the new access road there on the hill. So here we are looking at the cargo terminal building under construction, and I must tell you that between last Saturday and now quite a lot of work has been done here. And from what I've gathered in regards to the company that is doing this work, they are not paying their workers by the day, but they are actually paying you according to the work that you have done in a day. So you could understand the volume of work being done here, because the more work these guys do in any given day, the bigger the salary will be. You know, like some work where you're getting paid by the day, some people sit down on the work all day and practically sometimes give you half the work for a day's work. But it is not like this with this particular company, Inotech of Barbados. From what I have learned is that when you're working with this company, your work is being measured accordingly. So what you do for the day, that is what you're going to get paid for. I don't know how they work it out. If you give a certain amount of work to do, and based on how much of it you accomplish, you get paid for it. But what we're seeing here right now, in comparison to what we saw last week, is a vast difference over the past week since we last visited. So you could understand when they say in 7 months' time that this structure will be completed, and we're looking forward for that date when this cargo terminal building will be fully completed. Now you see they have put in the 2 side pieces, and now this center piece is going in. As time progresses, we're going to see exactly what is happening. But over here we have the slip drain on the one side and on the other side, and now in the center of these 2 lanes of road we're going to have here, we are having another centerpiece which will be going right down. It will be in this centerpiece you're going to have the lighting system or whatever else will be done here. But for the time being, the guys them are working hard preparing the boxing, and as we travel here week by week, we're going to see the development in this area where they're doing the roadway, the access road to the terminal building. Right in that very spot you're looking at there, right where that caterpillar is in that area, there was once a structure. Up to last week, part of it was there. The roof was removed and the sidings, But now the whole concrete columns that were there are now pushed down and removed. Sooner or later, this also will be removed from here, and the area here level off and in readiness, in preparation for what is to come later on. Now I am at the land side, at that area where when you're going away, where you will come and to get into the terminal building. Well, I'm on top of the bank side looking down on the terminal building on the western side of the bank. So looking at the car park from behind this area. Now last week they were dumping dirt here and compacting it, leveling it off and compacting it, and there you see a considerable amount of work has been done. What we're looking at now is a continuation of the retaining wall that is being put up here at the back, and what it appears to me as if this wall is not being done with concrete. It's just like if they're interlocking into each other, and at the back they have stones aggregator being placed in between there, and that is how it looks like to me. For me, it doesn't look as if they're using concrete or mortar to hold them together. Right down there, over in the distance, we have some of the workmen, those who are involved in the steel bending. They are putting in the necessary steel mattings there for the drainage system. Some areas they are going to be where they have manholes to put. They are fitting up the steel, because they are the ones who bend the steel to the specifications, so they are fitting up the steel so that the concrete can be poured. Now you see that house on top of the hill. I'm just giving you a general idea as to where I'm at. Now I seem to be cutting a roadway here. I'm not quite sure if it is a roadway, but they're cutting along this area. Over there in the distance you can see the terminal building, and I am on the bank looking over on the apron section. So all of this bank side probably will be coming down. I don't know as yet. It looks as though it's going to come down. So here is where we are on the bank side. As you would have seen, the house up there on my right, probably you're wondering if the house is going to have to be moved. It doesn't look that way according to what I'm seeing here. We have our surveyor stakes being placed just on the bank side, and they are cutting down. But we don't know yet exactly what is happening here. But for sure they're cutting away this bank, and maybe they're going to cut it down lower, and probably may have a roadway in this area. Who knows? Because I don't really know the plan of the airport site. But from what I'm seeing here, more than likely there's going to be a roadway to link back into that road, because that road that you see coming down there, that is going to be the road to take you to where they're going to build the cargo, where they're building the cargo apron. The vehicles that are going to the cargo terminal building, they're going to use this as their access road to get to the terminal, the cargo building. And the other road where we not too long came from, that is going to be the passenger road for persons who are going to take the aircraft to leave St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and for general parking and for taxi. This probably might be used as a service road to get to the terminal building easier than having to use the general public access road. So I'm just giving you a view as to what is going on up here on top this bank side so that you can see to get a better understanding of what is taking place in this particular area. The shift that worked from 6 o'clock this morning till 6, that shift has finished its duty for today. But here we have about 4 trucks already docked up there waiting to start another shift. And down here we see the front end loader is now coming, that will be loading these trucks here to continue to take the stuff from off of this hill down to the bottom where they're backfilling the sea area. So I am not quite sure if this shift is going to work until 2 o'clock, but what I know for sure is that at the stone mill, the shift that starts at 6 o'clock work until about 2 o'clock in the morning, because sometimes all up to that time I will hear the mill grinding stone from where I'm living. So I can say for sure that the stone mill works until about 2 o'clock in the morning. But for this section, I am not sure up to what time they're going to work, but they're going to start another shift now from 6 o'clock. And over on the bank over there, overlooking the seaside on the Sir Stubbs end, the workmen have already put the light, the generator there that will provide the light for the people who are walking down at the bottom down there at the seaside. So the work has started. We have a 5th truck coming here. This truck was working this morning, but the people who are driving these vehicles are a different set of people coming on at 6 o'clock this evening to start another shift here. More than likely this will go until about 2 o'clock. If it's an 8-hour shift, it will go about until 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. So here am I standing just on the edge of the bank side here at the Makoni Yami Hill, giving you the last moment of the work here that is taking place here as I conclude my visit here today at the Argyle International Airport site, just where I've started my tour. I'm going to end it off here. So what you're having at the bottom down here, the trucks are now waiting to be loaded. 5 of them are there waiting, and they're going to take their stuff down at the bottom, down at the Stubbs end, where they're dumping the stuff down there and building up that area.